Yes, as I was talking about the core pain points that we've had in the early stages of DeFi, right? And I tell you, come a long way. But now that the world is going in the direction of making everything decentralized finance with RWA, real world assets on the blockchain. We've got logic on the blockchain. Everything is going to be on the blockchain. Identification will be on the blockchain. Not just saying I'm agreeing with all of this stuff, but I am agreeing with where we're going and what we as people can create on the blockchain while educating ourselves. And the lifeblood of DeFi is indeed liquidity. If there's no LP tokens, liquidity pool tokens, you can't sell and you cannot trade. There are DeFi projects that are out there. They did not lock the liquidity, right? And in the middle of the night, they would steal all of the liquidity. That token went from whatever it was down to zero because we didn't check whether the liquidity was locked. We didn't know how, right? And I tell people there's another way. Even if the liquidity is locked, you need to go figure out how many tokens are outstanding in whom's wallet, in whom's hands. Because if indeed they lock the liquidity for 10 years or for all of eternity, and then what happens is you'll wake up and the price will be zero. How did they do that? Well, they've got a massive amount of tokens. All they need to do is sell it and dump it on your heads. That's just the same thing as going into the liquidity pool, taking it, right? But they lock that to give you a false sense of comfort and security. But they've got a lot of tokens, their buddies, their leaders, their mama, their daddy, their dev team, whomever. They just dump it on our heads, right? And I tell you, we check all of these things. We check all of this, and we'll be educating those who would like the education, okay, to make sure that we don't get that to happen. And here in AKAS, there's no way that's going to happen. So when we talk about the second quarter of 2024, right now today, another iteration of Olympus DAO is what we call AKAS. They call it Olympus DAO 4.0. It is the AKAS DAO, okay? Full chain protocol. They're going to have the DAO, it's a decentralized autonomous organization where people will get the right to vote on projects and protocols that the community and changes and updates that the community will have to vote on and agree with a third-party entity being an intermediary in this. And you will see a lot of that as we grow up. We're only 2 months old, mind you. June 20th, we launched. I was telling people we launched June 20th. We've got a young man. He doesn't speak English. He's a very good friend of mine. He always has a translator. He's actually a V9. There's 12 ranks, and he's ranked 9 in 2 months. I think he brought in about $32 million in sales in 2 months. He's making about $20,000 every day, over $20,000. That's about $7.2 million a year. That's like $600,000 a month. I'm like, how did you do that, Aiden? He worked faster than I did. I took a month off studying. Okay. And so we've got some great advantages of AKAS compared with all of the past Olympus DAO based projects. Okay, we've got consensus locked in, we've got decentralization, they implemented trust. And how did they do that? When we came in, the early birds came in, they had a global fair launch. And what do I mean about global fair launch? You guys have seen ICOs where we all rush in, we pay before they deliver anything, right? We all rushed in, we prayed, gave them our money and prayed. Meanwhile, their teams, their mother, their father, everybody got a boatload of tokens. The influencers, the KOL, key opinion leaders, all in YouTube and Twitter. That's very, very unfair. So here we had a fair launch. What they did was they created what they call the co-creation mechanism. Actually, we know what that means, a node. So we all got in and purchased a node. Check this out. $6 million worth of those nodes were sold before the June 20th launch. Then they cut it off. They cut it off on June 19th. And I just happened to barely make it with a couple of my colleagues. And so that's a fair launch. They did not say we're going to give you tokens. and you can like dump it on the heads of everybody. Oh no, that would not be smart. They did not say, we're going to give you a node that's valid for 30 days and you can withdraw it all. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It defeats the whole purpose. You'll get dumped on as the price goes up. And so what they did with that $6 million, pay attention. They took that $6 million, and I see it on the blockchain. It's on the blockchain. They took the $6 million in the liquidity pool that we gave them for the nodes, and they burnt all of it. I was like, whoa, where do they do that at, right? They burnt it, and that developed a sense of trust in these guys, because they could have put it in their pockets or did whatever they wanted to, but everything is on chain. So we started off June 20th, basically ready to rock and roll. All the nodes locked 360 days. Okay, but we get our rebase and our partial principal and all of that. That's fair, but no one has a bag of tokens, not even those guys, not the developers, not the project managers, none of them. They did 100% permanent destruction of the Genesis nodes. That was amazing. Destroyed in the black hole that you can look up. 0x000000DEAD. Okay. And so we've got the consensus binding as well. So all of us who have those nodes, we're going to be, again, bound to a 360-day liquidity pool token bond contract. And that's going to inject the power of long-term faith. We believe in it. We are the first, and hey, we want this thing to be around for a really, really long time. So I don't want your tokens. Okay, so that's what that's about. Now, what do we have here? We've got two main products, staking and bonds. So let's talk about the staking first. There are two sub-products in the staking, and what are they? Flexible staking and long-term staking. Okay. In each case, we're going to be making the same amount of money. And I'm going to show that 0.3% through 1%, right? Every 12 hours. The bonds have the same percentages as well. So that makes things easy. But there's a difference between bond and a difference between staking. There's a difference between each of the stakes, and there's a difference between the bonds. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Okay. So how do you join AKAS? Well, the guy or gal who introduced you to this call, right? They're going to say you have two choices. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to make sure that if you're using MetaMask, or if you're using Token Pocket, or if you're using Rabby, RABBY.io, it's my favorite, most secure wallet. SafePal is a good wallet as well. And I recommend highly that everybody graduate to SafePal and Rabby, okay, from MetaMask. But we're going to teach about MetaMask in our videos and things of the sort, because the majority of newbies, that's their entryway into crypto, okay? Now, after you've actually have your wallet, we're on the Polygon blockchain, the Polygon mainnet. Just like Ethereum blockchain, you need ETH in order to conduct transactions, and that is gas. You can't do anything on Ethereum blockchain unless you have some ETH, right? Which is very, very expensive, and their fees are very expensive. The same with Avalanche. You got to use their native token. The same with Pulse Chain. You got to use PLS, their native token. The same with Polygon. You got to have a little bit of POL. And what it is, it's a very fast, very cheap blockchain. That's why I like Polygon. Once you've done that, your person who brought you on this call, your friends, your buddies, they're going to show you. We've got videos as well. You're going to go to whatever centralized exchange you use. You're going to buy maybe about $10 worth of POL. And while you're at it, get some DAI on the Polygon blockchain. We call that DAI. That is a stable token. Get some of that. You want to buy $10,000 staking or bonds, then maybe you get yourself about $10,000 in DAI, and you're ready to rock and roll. That's all in your wallet now. Okay. Now that you have your DAI and you have your gas, which is POL, you're going to choose one of two paths, one and or the other path. The first path I talked about was the single token staking. You're going to need to stake AS token, the AKAS token. You have the DAI in your wallet. You go into the wallet. You go into the DApp, into the application of AKAS. You're going to go to the menu and click on swap. You're going to swap your DAI for AS. You're going to swap your DAI for AS. Piece of cake. Okay. Now, once you've done that, you're going to make the decision whether you want to purchase bonds and or single token staking. And I want to talk about both of those. And in both cases, you're going to be earning between 0.3% to 1% every 12 hours. Every 12 hours, you're going to be earning. And it's going to compound automatically if you don't touch it. Right? And so we're going to have training on that. I'm not going to go into details. We've got videos on that as well. So let's talk about the AS. You've got your AS. You've chosen to get into single token staking, either the whole $10,000 or your $1,000 or your minimum $100. It's all up to you. It's your budget. It's your money. We're decentralized. I'm not your financial advisor. Okay, I can help you with strategy if you like. I got some folks I'll be talking to about strategy, but whatever you do with your money, it is your decision 100%. There are many ways we can skin a cat here. Now, the single token staking, and this I'm going to talk about the flexible staking, because the long-term staking, you can't stake for 24 hours, but the flexible staking, you can. But why would you do that? I really don't know. And you're going to get a daily rebase of nothing. But some people like to change their mind. They can come in with their money and say, you know, I may not want to do this for whatever reason. Maybe they got to buy a house or something. I don't know. And they decide, nah, I want to get the money back, or maybe I want to split it up with the bonds or what have you, whatever reason. Now, in all cases, you can actually stake the flexible as well as the long term. You can stake 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, 360 days. What they're going to give you is the 0.3 to 1%. Right now, today, we're getting approximately 0.41, 0.42% every 12 hours. But they're also going to give you a little something extra. And what is that? For 30 days, they're going to give you an extra 0.04 AS, right? 90 days, you get a little more, 0.6. 360 days, you'll get 0.9 extra. And this is just extra, and they call it the boost. Okay, they call it the boost. Okay, so the higher the rebase bonus is, the longer you stake, the higher the rebase bonus, okay? So during that staking period, you're earning AS tokens continuously. It's accruing principal and interest based on the blockchain. So that's it in a nutshell. Really, really simple. So this is kind of like a theoretical compound interest earning estimation table. And pay attention, these numbers are assumptions, okay? So here, what I'm going to assume is that we're making every 12 hours 0.6% of what we have staking, okay? And there are going to be 2 sessions, right? 12 hours, 12 hours. If you compound whatever you have every single day, every 12 hours, let it sit there, your monthly compound earnings will be approximately 42.58% AS. I've got a calculator. I'll put that in the group. Annually, if you let it sit there for a year, you're going to have 6,561.26%. And a lot of people who don't know about DeFi, you'll get this question to say, where's the money coming from that you're paying us? And so I have to explain to people, it's not a storefront. This is not e-commerce. This is DeFi. It's a decentralized financial system that operates just like the United States Treasury operates. Right? They don't sell, you know, boondoggles and widgets and wadgets and shoes and hats or anything. They don't sell anything. It's a whole economy wrapped around this thing. When I talk about the bonds, you'll get that a little bit. Okay. And so you can get a great annual compound earnings rate, but this is much better than the Treasury. Just too many parameters there. We got our own Treasury. We got our own bonds. Okay, let's assume that you're getting 0.9% per session. Of course, it's going to be more. Okay, so let's assume that you're going to be staking 1,000 AS, not dollars, but AS. Right now, an AS, I think that meant $1,000. That's where I normally do my calculation. But they're doing assuming the consensus price. Yeah, they're doing the AS. So 1,000 AS at $27 a piece. That's approximately what it is, 26, 27. They're stabilizing the price. We're new, and there's not going to be any big whales trying to dump it. Later on, as we become mature, then they're going to loosen up the range bound stability parameters so we can see a little more volatility, which is going to be wonderful. But right now, they're doing the right thing, and I agree with it. So 1,000 AS, let's assume that's what you're staking. Let's assume that you're getting a rebase reward every 12 hours of 0.6%. So here's the periodic compound interest table for it. You stake for 30 days, your final AS quantity from 1,000 AS would be $1,431. I'm sorry, 1,431.79 AS. Okay, that third column here is assuming that AS is $100, right? And so it's 143,178. I like to be a little more conservative. Let's assume that it's $50. So it would be 50 cents, 50% of 143,000, which is approximately 72,000, right? 60 days, you're going to get more. The longer you stake, the more AS you will receive. 2,050, stake for 90 days, 2,935, 180 days, 8,615, 360 days, 74,000. This is a year, 74,224 AS when you only started with 1,000. And we're talking about at $100, that's 7.4 million. At $50, that's 3.52 million, right? We can even go to $25, and that's 1 point something million. So that's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good. Okay. Now, we don't have price discovery yet, but we're getting there. Now, so that's how the flexible staking works, and that's how the long-term staking, 30, what is it, 30, 60, 90, 180, 360 days. You got a little boost going on. That's it in a nutshell. Treasury bonds, you do not use AS. You're not staking here. What you're doing is you're buying into the ability to buy AS at a discount. Okay, let me explain that. And I don't like the way they did their numbers here, so I'm going to explain it. So you're saying, I'm going to subscribe to the treasury bonds. And so I'm going to use some DAI. You don't need AS. Use the DAI that's sitting in your wallet. And the treasury mints the AS as needed every 12 hours for you. DAI is what we call the treasury reserve assets. United States dollar is the treasury, the United States government treasury reserve assets. Same economy, except for ours better. So they try to stabilize the price at $1. Thank God we are up at $26, $27. We're doing good. The system automatically burns AS. It ensures the price never goes above $1. But they have something more. They do it to make sure the price remains at a particular range bound. Talk about that at another time. So each minting event, right? Because remember, when they launched, there were no AS. But when the first person staked, then the minting began. Now they're creating AS, creating AS, creating AS. Okay, someone was talking about, oh my God, that contract can mint. It's supposed to. And so let's say, for example, you want to buy a treasury bond and you just want to keep it for 5 days. Okay, you can do that. You're going to get a discount range between 95 and 100%. This is what that means. You're going to get a discount from 0 to 5% on AS. So if you buy a bond for $1,000, right? And that means, what, 10% is 105%, $1,050 worth of AKAS, you'll be buying. It's kind of like you're putting in $1,050, right? Worth of DAI, but you're getting a 5% discount. Same thing to 30 days, you're going to get up to 10%. 90 days, you're going to get up to 15%. 180 days, these are discounts you're going to get on your AKAS. 75%, up to 25%. And 360 days, up to 35%. Okay, just 100% minus 65, and you get the 35. Now, when you're in your back office and you take a look and you're trying to determine which bonds you want to buy, I'm going to tell you right now, the 5 days, the 30 days, and the 90 days, they're going to be more prone to give you a red flag and say, don't buy it, because your discount is going to be a negative. So if the price is $27, instead of you getting a 5% discount for 5 days, you could be getting a 5% no discount, right? In addition to the price. So instead of $27, you're going to be paying 5% more. They'll have that in the back office so you can see it's red. It's got a caution sign and everything. The 180 days and the 360 days, they're typically the ones that have a higher bond rate, your earning rate, okay? So take a look at that and be very careful in that regards. You'll see it. It's really, really very, very visible. What happens is when the price goes up or when a lot of buys are being made, right? That's when you're going to get those negative numbers or low discount ranges. But when it goes down and there's a lot of sales, you're going to typically get a higher LP bond rate, right? They adjust it every minute, every second, whatever, depends on what people are buying. So people are buying a lot of 5 days, 30 days, and 90 days. That's why they tend to get a lower discount rate. And then what you see here, and so I like to go with the 180 days to 360 days bond, and then I'm cool in the game, you know, because they're always higher. Even if it's not 35%, even if it's 11%, that's still a great discount on the price of AS. So the bond burning, we have LP bonds. We have 3 bonds: liquidity pool bonds, liquidity bonds, the treasury bonds, and we have the burning bonds. Now, I haven't looked today or yesterday, but we talked about it on a call earlier with the tech guys. The liquidity pool bonds, we know they're out. We see them back there. I'm not sure if the treasury bonds and the bond burning are here, but they operate the same way. They just have different purposes, okay? It depends upon the market price and all kinds of stuff. If some burning is going to be happening, all of that. The strike against centralized power, burning tokens from the pool, supports price appreciation. Just wait how this thing looks, man, in 6 months to a year. We're just 2 months in the space. Now, let's talk about how you can earn. If you decide, now for the passive people, that's it. You don't need to know anything unless you got a whole lot of money and you want to rank yourself by using your money and creating a structure. But let's talk about folks who wants to rank. But even here with the resonance rewards, you don't even have to be ranked. Listen, resonance reward, you'll see it in your back office. You'll click on dial on the menu. You'll click on resonance rewards. And every day you'll see how much money, how much AS you're earning from the resonance reward. So what is the resonance? You know, these guys who create these systems, they're all about the spiritual thing and you know, the moon, the stars, and gamification and everything. So I had to get used to the terminology. Vertical and horizontal resonance at an infinite blah, 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 blah. Okay, here's how it works. Let me open it up a little bit for you. Okay, I think that's the best we could do. That's too much. Let's do this. Okay, let's pull this over. Okay, fine. Okay, there we go. Oh God. Let's do that 3%. Let's go here. I just have to take my time. It's ahead of me. Okay. Reward mechanism. So here's how it works. I'm gonna close it up a little bit more. 57%, a little bit more. Okay, great. Resonance rewards. Let's say that you have one direct referral. That's it. It could be you. It could be a colleague. It could be anyone. You have one direct referral underneath you. What you've done is you've opened up your ability to earn resonance rewards. But you must have at least $100 that you're staking or have purchased bonds with. Okay. Now what you've done is you're able to earn resonance reward, one level down, one level up. Who's one level up? The guy or gal who brought you into this deal. One level down is that one person you brought in. Okay. So here's how it works. Let's say you bring in John. Now you're eligible for the resonance reward. John says, I'm going to put in $1,000. So let's assume it's 1% a day. I'm just throwing a number out there, right? So that's $10 a day John will be earning in his rebase or the interest on his staking or his bonds, right? So he's earning $10 a day. You are going to get 10% of what your downline, what your team, what your community member that you personally brought in is making. So that's $1 every day, every day, every day. Your upline, right? I don't know. We never know what our upline is buying, but if indeed he has, or he or she has a $1,000 staking and or bonds, and you only have 100, you're only going to be eligible to earn on him to the cap of $100 of his 1,000. Okay, there's no cap on the people you bring in and they bring in and they bring in all of that. There's no cap at all, but there is a cap on upwards, which makes sense. So you're earning up and down. Let's say you bring in 2 folks on your front line directly referred by you to build your community, right? That's our goal here, to build the largest community. But you've got to have $200, right, in bonds or in stakes. Now you have opened up, unlocked your earnings for 2 levels up, 2 levels down, and you're going to get 5% on those folks. Okay, all the way down, let's say 6. You have 6 direct referrals on your front line. You have to have $600 in stakes and or bonds. You can have multiple stakes. It doesn't matter, guys. They're going to combine all of them. You got multiple bonds, a combination. They're going to combine all of that. All you need is $600 that you have staking or in bonds. Okay, now you're going to be able to earn 6 up, 6 down, right? 2%, right? Let me do this. Okay. Okay, move this out of the way. Now, when you get to, move that. When you get to 10 direct referrals, a couple of things happen. You've got to have $1,000 holding, they call it AS holdings, staking or in bonds. You have 10 referrals, $1,000 staking. Now you're going to be able to earn 10 levels up, 10 levels down, period, right? But another thing happened, you'll get 1% on all of those guys. On the 9th level, if you have $900, you get 1%. So of course, that's a lot of money, and all you need is 10 people. I know some people who are doing this. They put $1,000 in, and then they get 10 wallets and put 100. That's another $1,000. Now they can get the resonance rewards from their uplines 10 levels up, and this gives them also an incentive to start building even the passive people. They start liking those resonance rewards. Okay, but when you have 10 direct referrals, now you are eligible to be titled. That's more money. That's more AS. That's more rewards. Again, when you have 10 direct referrals, you're going to be eligible for title rewards. And I like some of their wording here, right? They said, let me go back. They said, you're not resonating alone. This is a resonating thing. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy. I talked about that to my heart's content. Okay. Hey, what did I do? Let me share again. Share. Okay, let's see. I did a boo-boo. Okay. Minimize that. Go here. Okay. There we go. Boom. Okay. Full screen. You still see my screen, guys? Oh, no, I got to share. Okay. Let's do a share.
We can see it.
Rock and roll. So I already talked about the resonance rewards. Okay, cool. Oh, shucks. Okay. I already talked about that. Let's do this. Move that out of my way. Okay, great. Now, yes, talked about the residence rewards. Okay. Okay, here we are. Title rewards. You got to have, and if you want to be the sequence, dun, 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 the awakener, a V1, first rank, leadership awakening, rank advancement, cosmic council dividends. Okay, title rewards, rank rewards. From awakening to domination, you embark on a journey to lead an army. This is wonderful. But in any case, in order to be a V1, you have to have 10 direct referrals. You've got to have $1,000 staking and or bonds. That's it, $1,000. But you've got to have $20,000 in sales in your team and only on your small legs. So you've got 10 across, you got 10 folks that you bought in, or maybe some of them are your positions, however you combine them. And if you have one team and they've got $30,000 straight down on that one leg, you got 9 more legs, right? And so they're going to throw out the 30,000 one. That's your powerful person. That's the one that like to run away and do things very, very quickly. You're going to always earn on them, on all the other bonuses, but for the sake of assigning you a title, they're going to put that aside. And then they're going to take your other 9 legs, they're going to combine it. The 9 legs combined sales volume, right, makes you, and you have $20,000 in what they call the sub community or the small community. That's what they mean. Your community is everything. Your sub community or your minor community, you'll see, or your small community, all combined must be $20,000. When it is, hallelujah, congratulations, you are a V1. And you're going to be able to earn 15%. Okay? You're going to be able to earn 15% on the earnings of your team. Okay? On the earnings of your team. Now, how do you become a V2, a true, the resonator? V2, you got to have $1,500 in personal stakes or bonds, 10 on your front line, $60,000 in your smaller teams, your 9 smaller teams, okay? If you've got 12 people on your front line, then it will be your 11 smaller teams. You follow me? You can have as many direct referrals as you like. Then you'll be earning 25% on your team, all the way down to, let's say, a V9, when you need to have $20,000 staking. This is the top guy, the company I was telling you about, is making about $20,000 plus a day right now. He is a V9. He is sacred, the void sovereign. $20,000 in personal holdings, AS holdings. You have to have 20 folks on your front line to be a V7, V8, or V9. You're going to need $20,000 plus 20 on your front line. Okay. And for V9, you need $1.5 million in sales on your smaller legs. Okay. You're going to get 95%. But here's a question that's always asked, especially in unilevels, because that's what we're in. The unilevel is not a binary, it's a unilevel, means you go wide, and your goal is to get as many people beneath you rank, and I'll talk about that with the leadership awards. This is the rank rewards right here. Let's say you're V1, and let's say someone in one of your legs is let's say a V3, right? You're V1, they're V3, you get nothing. Okay, you get nothing. So but they do have something for you. They knew that people would start balking and say, hey, I brought these big hitters in. They're just faster than me. I'm going to show you the leadership awards. You're going to get 2%. They don't want to leave you out in the cold. You're going to get 2%. So it's not to get 0, 0, 0, but it also gives you incentive to rank up to that V3, just like your downline is. But let's say, for example, you're V1. Now, let's say you're V2. And you got some V1s underneath you. You're going to earn 25 minus 15, right? 25 minus 15 is 10%. If you're a V2, you're going to get the 10%. No, you get the 25%. Where's my notes? I always get the differential thing all mucked up. Here it is. Let's say you are a V2. I'm a V2, right? At the top, you're a V2, and your team is a V3. Somebody in your team's a V3. You're going to get that 2% leadership award because they're beating you. If you are a V5, for example, you see that 55%, and your team is a V2, which is less than you, 55 minus 25. Wait, 55. Did I say? I said V3. Yeah, V3. V3, 35 minus 25 is what? 10% you'll get, because they got to get theirs too, right? So you're sharing it. So you're still, the goal is you just want to rank. And you do want to have a competition, to have your team having competitions ranking, because everybody's going to want the big earnings ratio. Everybody's going to want the big earnings ratio. Otherwise, it's going to go to their team. It's going to go to their team, go to their team, go to their teams. So when they're ranking. So that's wonderful. But they also have, when you get down to a V11 and a V10, 11, and 12, you need 30 on your front line. You need between 3 million. You need 3 million for a V10, and V11, you need 2 V10s, and V12, you need 2 V11s. You see how the numbers and the earnings add up, and these could be huge, especially if you're fast. And then there's a pool, a global pool. If you're the first person in here, and I think that would be my buddy Aiden, if you're the first person in here, you get to share in this 1% pool, 100% of the global whole community pool. So he's going to be there by himself until someone joins him, and then they will split. When 4 people joins him, then that 1% will be split in 4, etc. The same with the 2% and the 3%. Okay, and this is based on the total performance of everybody in the community, including both the large and the small communities. And the title rewards you're going to be earning on both your large and your smaller team. It's just that in order to be ranked or titled, they're going to eliminate your first leg. Okay, I mean your most lucrative leg. So, leadership award, I already told you, if you get jumped, members who achieve the title rank, this is for people who are V1 to V12, you're going to receive a leadership award, 2% of the daily title award earnings from all title accounts within your first 10 generations. So what this means is, right, and we're talking about title people, and you have to be titled as well. What this means is, let's say you've got a lot of folks on your front line, and let's say none of them are titled. None of them are ranked. So you're going to be earning on 10 generations. They won't count that first level. All the people you personally brought in who aren't ranked, they won't count that as a generation. They're going to compress it. So then they continue to look. Oh, on the second level, we see a rank 2 or rank 1. It doesn't matter what they are. Even if you're V1, you're going to earn on them as well, the 2% on everybody that's ranked, everybody that is titled, down 10 generations. That second level, because they found that first ranked person, that first titled person, that second level is your generation 1. Because they compressed it so you won't lose. Because imagine not having any title people on your first 10 levels, and all your title people are on 11 level, 12 level, 13 level. That would suck, wouldn't it? So if you don't have nobody on your first level, second level, third level, all the way to your 10th level, all of that get compressed out of the calculations, and they continue to look. So what that does is they still keep doing it until you have 10 generations. They find one level with nothing in it, no title people, compress it out. So you get this for 10 generations. That could be a lot of buckaroos, guys, from all of the title members, from V1 to V12. Even if you have a V12 in your downline and you're a V1, you're going to be eligible for that 2%. So I wish Aiden was on my team. Okay, so you get the maximum rewards there. Let's talk about income tax. Income tax. You can call them withdrawal fees. Call them what you want, but they're withdrawal fees. So when you do a claim, let's say you want to claim your rebase. Well, let's start over. Let's say you're staking. And when you're staking, you go to the, let's say, the long-term staking page. You'll see all of your stakes after you hit the unstake. You'll see stake, you'll see unstake. Click unstake. Doesn't mean you're going to unstake. You click unstake and you'll be able to see all of your stakes, existing stakes. And then you would get in there, right? You would get in there and you would see, you pull down on the arrow that you have 3 entries. One is going to be a total, a particular amount of AS tokens. Okay. You're going to see a particular amount of AS tokens. And it's going to say underneath it or beside it, it's going to say end stake. Only click that if you're interested in decreasing your staking principal. I surely am not going to do that, right? So, and because you're earning principal every day too, in conjunction with the rebates or your interest. The second thing you will see is claim rebase. The third thing you'll see is claim boost. The boost is that extra little something I told you they give you more the longer you stake. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to have those. You can claim those anytime you want. Those are your profits. Those are your interests. Okay. So when you claim it, a box is going to come up. But let's say you decide to take your in stake and take those 2 or 1 AS out of your principal. Okay. You do not pay any income tax on that. You don't pay any income tax on your cash outlay, on your AS holdings, on what you have staked. But for all of your goodies you're earning, your tax rebates, your bonuses, your residence, your leadership, your title, all of these great, the lovely AS that you're going to be earning throughout this ecosystem, you're going to have to say claim. And when you say claim, you can choose how long you're willing to wait and how much you're willing to pay for it. That income tax supports the ecosystem. So if you want to wait just 5 days, you're going to be taxed 15%. So if you got $100 back there, right? You got $100 back there, 10%, 10, $15, you're going to pay. So it's $85 you'll have. And after 5 days, not after 5 days, every day, you're going to get 1/5 of that $85, right? You're going to get 1/5. I mean, 1/20th, isn't it? Yeah, 1/5. 5 times 4 is 21. Yeah, 20%. 20% the first day, 20% the second day, 20% the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, 100%. Then you'll be able to pull that out and withdraw that. I'm not going to go over that training here. We're going to do a special training. So that's how that works. But if you're willing to wait a little longer, you only pay 10%. You want to wait 15 days, you pay 5%. You want to wait 20 days, you pay 1%. If you have multiple claims going on in many of these different days, you're still going to be getting that money in your wallet, getting that AS in your wallet every day or every other day. Okay, so that's how that works. We're paying the income tax. What do they do with that income tax? 50% of it gets put in the bucket, and I'll tell you what they do with it. Okay. All of the income taxes over a 15-day period, they put 50% in the bucket. And guess what they do with it? They're going to give it to the V1s, V2s, V3s, and V4s. Yeah, people say, why not the V5? Why not the V6? Man, if you're V5, you're V6, you're V12, you don't need any more money. This is the reward to guys who are doing some work and they're taking that initiative. Hey, I'm going to get off my butt and I'm going to start building and I ain't want to rank. So this is an incentive for them. Once every 15 days, it's going to be distributed based on the performance of the small communities for V1 through V4 ranks. So check it out. If you're V1, you're going to share in 40% of that pool. If you're V2, 30% of that pool. If you're V3, 20% of that pool. And if you're V4, 10%. Because we know most people will be in the V1, right? So there's a lot more people sharing the 40%. Okay, so that's why it gets the higher reward ratio. See, there's like so much AS, so much bonuses, so much you can make in the AKAS ecosystem in this unbelievable decentralized DAO project based on Olympus DAO. It's been around for 4 years. It had nothing to do with network marketing. We just have so many different ways to potentially change our lives and do something differently. All we have to do is stand up. All we have to do is stand up and do the work. Otherwise, you better have a whole lot of money and put in $1 million worth of positions, and you can do all of this. But I always make jokes, don't I? Now, we got one more thing. I'm not done. We've got the service award. What is the service award? I want you to pay attention. There's 3 criteria in order for you to earn this. You'll notice how I didn't say if a guy you bring in came in with $10,000, you're going to get 10% of his $10,000. And then your sponsor is going to get 8%, and your sponsor gets 7%. We've seen those deals, right? So the guy you bring on board, he come in with $10,000. He wants to stake $10,000. Right? He wants to earn on $10,000. But what happens is all of that direct referral commission, 10%, 8%, 7%, 6%, before you know it, that $10,000 that he put in is all the way down to like what? $4,000, because they're paying out 60% to the network. The math ain't mathing. Because now we paid out $6,000 to the network. You've got $4,000 left for him to stake, and he's earning on $10,000. Not smart. That's not smart economics. The math doesn't math. Now, but there is a way you can get a 5% on a guy or gal you bring on board. Number 1, you got to be ranked. You got to be ranked. Okay, pay attention. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to have a 180 or 360-day stake or bond, and so does the guy or gal you just brought in. That's number 2. Number 1, be ranked. Number 2, 180 or 360 days bond and or staking. Okay. So you're just 30 days or you're just 90 days, you're not eligible. No sense in listening, right? So, and the third criteria is this. You'll get some people on your team want to get in really, really quickly. And you've got a whole bunch of AS in your wallet. And they'll give you some cash or whatever, or give you some USDT, or give you some crypto or something for an exchange. And you say, here's some AS. So you give them AS, they come in, they register underneath you, right? And then what happens is they directly go stake the AS. You will no longer be eligible for the 5% of whatever they put in. Here's how you can be eligible. Don't give them AS, give them DAI. Give them DAI, because they must utilize the internal swap in the back office of our DApp, of AKAS DAO. They log in, click on the menu, they connect, click on the menu, click swap. And there they swap their DAI for AS. Okay? And so I believe it's all about education. So when I bring in someone personally, I say, John, I got an ulterior motive, you know? I says, I need you to follow my instructions. I need you to have a 180 or 360 day stake. I don't care how much. He puts in there, right? But he's got to have that. And I said, my ulterior motive is because I want a 5% commission off of what you're putting in, right? But we're going to miss some. We have our links all around the place. We don't know what everybody's doing. We don't have content, but it's okay. We got all these other ways to earn. But I just want to let you know about the service award that you're going to see in your back office. When you click the menu, it'll say dial, and you click on service award. I think they call it service award. Yeah, I think they call it, or do they call it reciprocal awards? Oh, we'll see. We'll see in the back office when I train you. But yeah, you'll see all of the different ways you can earn under the dial, DAO menu item. Okay, so remember that. That's cool. It's got to be more than, they say more than 180 days. It's actually 180 to 360 days. They meant more than, they mean 880 days or more. Okay, so it's going to be up to 5%, depending upon the contract, the ecosystem, the debt ratio, and all these other parameters, the liquidity, etc. So right now it's approximately 5%. Okay, that's super. So I already talked about the bonds. I talked about the staking. I talked about the bond burning, the residence reward, the title reward. Title means rank. I talked about the leadership award, that 2% you're going to get. on all titled members in your team. I talked about the service reward. That's the every 15 days. The income tax mechanism. No, the rebate reward, I think, is actually, but whatever, we'll figure it out. Burning mechanism. I talked about all of these. And I tell you, here, we're talking about building a community, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about joint participation, joint market making, shared value growth, where we're building the largest community in DeFi that we've ever seen. I mean, in 2 months, we have $33 million in liquidity in DAI. We have $33 million in AS. There's $66 million sitting there in our liquidity, unheard of for 2 months in action. So I tell you, the other countries, many countries, they're just coming in like crazy. So what I want to do with your assistance, with your leadership, I want to actually build this as AKAS upgrades Olympus DAO on a full blockchain basis, integrating fair launch, permanent liquidity, locking bond burning, community-driven reward system, committed to building a new generation of iconic, fully decentralized DeFi protocols, reshaping the trust now that we have in the on-chain finance and DeFi. When the era calls for new order, I tell you, this is today. We don't just sit back waiting passively for something to happen to us. We choose to forge it with our own hands. That, ladies and gentlemen, is AKAS DAO.